I'm now trying to question, am I self-sabotaging? I sit there and it's nice and I feel safe to be open and vulnerable with him, but it's a very alien feeling for me.
Yo, let's talk Love is Blind, season 2, episode 2 from UK. Can I be honest with you? This is a really good show. I'm loving the non-toxicity that I'm seeing from my screen. Of course, everyone's got their own issues and their own problems, but I'm loving the non-toxicity, so I'm never going to complain. But I want to break down some of these couples because we got to see a few different things happening. We've obviously dealt with the love triangle between Sophie, Megan, and Kieran as well, right? There's this whole love triangle that's happening between the three of them, and I love it because, again, it's not toxic per se. It's just something that needs to be discussed and kind of to be moved through. And it's interesting because he's got two choices, one with Megan, one with Sophie, and I think it's a very powerful illustration to where a lot of people are when it comes to dating. Do you date someone like Sophie who is giving you bare minimum? And when I say bare minimum, in the sense of she's struggling to be able to open herself up emotionally and give herself all the way through. Well, if she's struggling to do so, do you choose her with the hope that she's going to open up eventually along the way? Or do you go with someone like with Megan, who has been quite open from the very beginning? Yes, she has her own issues. Yes, you're going to have to work through things, but you're having this instant chemistry. She seems to be available, seems to be open, and is in a place where, she's able to move with you emotionally in that space. I think and when you get this choice, a lot of people are in this choice. A lot of people are in situations where they're like, I'm dating someone, or I like someone, I like two people, or maybe I even like one, but the other one seems to not necessarily want me and everyone does. Or the other person's playing a bit coy, a bit cold, and the other one's showing us exactly that they want me. And I think this is really important because I think a lot of people inevitably end up being in positions where they choose somebody who isn't actually right for them. And I think these three in this triangle was a perfect representation so far of choosing correctly, right? Seemingly being aware of that, because he asked her to, he asked Sophie for more. She unfortunately said she was opening up, but she wasn't necessarily there. So we're going to break it down a little bit further as well. So it's not just Kieran and Sophie. We have Carl and Sarova, where they finally seemingly were going to propose and get to that place where he asked her to marry her. So we love that as well. Then we've got Billy and Ashley. Billy and Ashley's quite interesting because they actually did see each other in the reveal, and I can't lie to you, they look like they were all over each other. Now, unless somebody's lying, they were all over each other. Now, what I will say is there's only one moment, and when I say it was minuscule, it was very minuscule, and it probably doesn't mean anything. But I always say that whenever I feel something, I just say it, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't. There was a moment when they were sitting down and they were kissing and they were all over each other. He kind of put his hand on her leg, and she kind of just moved his hand up and then did the whole together. Now, it could have been that she was uncomfortable in terms of the fact that maybe, his hand was on her leg and just didn't want to do that. Or it could just be the case of the fact that she just wanted to just hold his hand. It could be that too. But when I saw it, I don't know, my instinct started to kick in. And again, doesn't mean anything at all. But it's something I just wanted to say out there, like, oh, I wonder what that meant. Is she fully there? But she seemed to be. She was kissing him, holding him, telling him how good he looks. He told her how good she looks. He couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it. At one point, she wanted to twirl him around. Okay. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue later on, because you don't really hear that from a woman wanting to twirl a man around. And I think that is interesting. And I don't want to go too deep into that. Not say anything bad. I think it's something to understand in terms of dynamics. I wondered why she wanted to twirl him around. And I said, oh, I remember, because she told us that when she was younger, she was almost like the breadwinner in her family. So she might have taken on some of those leadership, masculine, energized roles, quote unquote, to say, and had to have a high level of hyper-independence, which may lead her to being somebody who leads when she should be able to just step back. But that's another conversation. We'll deal with that a little bit later on. We then got introduced with Katisha and her triangle with Demola, and which was also cool as well. Actually, I got to see that triangle as well. Demola and Javen and Katisha. Now, I know some of you are probably going to be rooting for Demola. You know what I mean? And I kind of was voting for Demola too. I felt like Javen is cool, but I did feel like it was a little.
He's in Jamaica.
Wow.
And I'm trying to make it a habit to try and go every 2 years.
Okay.
Just to make sure I see them.
Yeah, of course.
Now I don't know if the show is trying to make him the villain or the bad guy here. When they do the show, it might be. But the fact that they made Javen have a conversation about sex, like no one else was talking about sex, I thought it was kind of cheeky. Now it could be that it could be something they're trying to highlight to us and let us know. It could be them just being cheeky and trying to edit him in a particular way, right? But he had a conversation around sex. And he was asking, about sexual intimacy and how important that is for him. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. We understand that sexual intimacy is a massive thing, but it's just interesting that they highlighted that conversation for her. Okay. And so I think that was also interesting to kind of see. But she liked both those men because one is Javen, who's very confident, cocky almost, but confident. And then you got Demola, who is very much Damolula. That's how you pronounce the name. Damola. Am I saying it right? Damola. Am I saying it right? Damola. How was I saying it? Damola. Okay, so excuse my British there. Damola. You're making me put on an accent. You know what I mean? You make me put on an accent right now. Do you know what I mean? All right, so Damola. You'll know that obviously with our brother here, he grew up with his parents, but actually grew more of his grandma. Loves his grandma. Grandma passed away. Very, very seemingly emotionally centered, not in a bad way, but emotionally centered, as well. So I can understand, that, he may seem like a more sensitive soul. And I think Katisha's drawn to that, but how much so? I think she likes it, but I think it turns her off too. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think she likes it, but I think it turns her off too. But we'll discuss that a little bit later on as well. We have Patrick and Anu. Again, I don't know why these two are together because spirituality and Christianity are two different things. And I'm going to talk about this proper because I really want to help some people who are Christian. I'm going to say it. We need to have a real conversation about that. And then we got introduced to Jed and Barda as well. Okay, so we've got some key things happening. I want to be able to go into them and break them down. So let me start with my love triangle of Demola and Katisha and Javen. I want to break them down first, and then we can go a little bit into all the other couples as well. Okay, if you're new to the channel, make sure you do a massive favor. You're liking, you're sharing, you're subscribing, you're clicking on that bell button for notifications of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. Okay, all right, so let's get into this particular conversation as well. Let's deal with this first.
Of course. So my mum is Jamaican Spanish.
Really? Are you in touch with the Jamaican side of your family?
Not really.
Okay.
I wish that I was though.
Maybe I can help you explore that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you wish you could help her explore that, Javen. Okay, so here's my thing. Katisha, Damola. Hey. You have to say it probably Damola. All right, cool. Okay, so the interesting thing. Okay, so let me deal with Javen and Katisha, right? First and foremost, Javen's a very confident guy. And I think what ends up happening is because Javen is such a confident guy, I think Katisha is drawn to that because his confidence draws out her confidence. His confidence inspires her. I think that's something that she likes because maybe she feels like she's not as confident, and his confidence inspires her and influences her. That was a kind of energy I got in that mind. Now, of course, we know that this man grew up playing football, soccer, and to put it into perspective, okay, he played from 12 to 18, played for Crystal Palace, he said he was, right? That's like basically getting onto an NFL team, but then playing for the junior side of it. I don't know if NFL have the junior side of their actual teams, but I want to make it clear. Crystal Palace at the time were like, for the past few years, and I don't know if obviously at that time, Crystal Palace for the last few years have been at the top of the Premier League, which is a top of British football, right? The elites of the elites. And I think they had some time in the lower league, but yeah, if he was there from that age, he played at the highest level in terms of youth football. So he's not a small boy when it comes to playing sports, and of course, done his knee in, and then getting into that as well, right? So I'm sure he has a lot of confidence with that particular aspect. So I think the thing that's going to be interesting here is that Javen, with his confidence, is going to match someone like Katisha, who has been through absolute hell with her past partner. She let us know that her past partners had cheated on her. And I don't have a clip for it, but I want to play a little bit more of the video for you.
But you know what I do want to know? Like in a marriage, for you, how important is sexual chemistry?
I would say it's pretty important.
Yeah.
I would say
Okay, so they had a conversation around ex-partners, and what was interesting about the ex-partner situation was that Katisha let us know that her last relationship was 6 years long, and in that relationship, she was being cheated on left, right, and center. Now, whenever you're in a relationship where you're getting cheated left, right, and center, I'm looking at you. I know you're probably going to say to me, but it's not my fault. I don't care. I'm looking at you. If you're getting cheated on several times in that relationship, I'm asking the question why you stayed. I'm asking the question, where was your self-esteem? I'm asking the question, where was your self-worth? I now have to ask those questions because you stayed in a scenario where it was unbeneficial for you and you were being mistreated several times for that relationship, and you accepted it, stayed in that relationship, prolonged. Now, I think that's really important because it gives us an indication of mindset and the way that you look at yourself. And then that can also play a role into how you're going to start dealing in relationships. Okay. Now, I think what's key about this is what she broke down. She grew up in Scotland with her nanny. She makes bridal stuff, but she's a nanny, and makes bridal stuff as well. She's been single for 6 years, had an ex who cheated on her unfaithfully so many times. She's the oldest of 7 kids. That should tell you something straight away. Okay. Oldest of 7 kids, more than likely, your parents made you a parent before your age. Your emotional needs weren't being met. I'm guessing, by the way, we don't know 100%. You probably had to grow up really, really quickly, had to look after all your siblings, which means that your emotional needs get pushed to the side. Okay. All right. She says she goes for emotionally unavailable men. That's a damn. That's a bit of a wild one still. That's a damn. Okay, so I was like, okay, cool. She goes for emotionally unavailable men. Okay, I said okay. And she moved out the home at 16, just a child, but didn't know what she was doing. She said, hopefully I got it right. Did I say the 7? She's got 7 siblings. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I miswrote that. So just let me know. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong about that. That would be very helpful if you can correct me if I've got that wrong as well, because I may have just been mishearing what she actually said. But she said she feels she's lived 6 lives. She loves her grandma. She's Jamaican and Spanish. Now, I think it's really important that she breaks all of this down, because if you are the oldest of so many children in your household, it's very hard because you're all starving for air. You're all starving for attention. You start working at 14. At 14, you're working, which means you've already been parentified. You've not had the time to develop as a child. You've been labeled as probably very independent. You've been labeled as somebody who has got it all figured out. You're probably labeled as somebody who, is able to handle everything. You've been labeled as somebody who just should know it all already. And by the time you get to 14, 15, who can tell you anything? Nobody. Because actually, if your parents couldn't allow you to sit down and be a child and be provided for, and you have to provide for you and your family in some instance, right? What tends to happen is you learn how to become very arrogant. When I say arrogant, I mean this in all the kindest, yet the most disrespectful. No, I'm joking. I mean this in the most kindest way. What I mean by arrogance is an aspect of hyper independence, because hyper independence is an aspect of arrogance, and in the sense of I can do it all by myself. Now, it's not your fault you got there. It's your fault when you continue it, right? And many of us are in this space. What does it mean? It means that you are so focused on achieving, doing, and you're struggling to ask people for help because you don't believe that they can do it as good as you, or 2, you don't trust that they will come through for you and they will disappoint you. So being 14 and having to work, being the oldest of 7 kids, you go for emotionally unavailable men. Do you know why you go for emotionally unavailable men? Can I solve this conundrum for you? If you're out there and you're dating, I want to solve this conundrum for you. If you date people that are emotionally unavailable, it's because you are unavailable. Why is that? Because if somebody is offline and you're online, you're not in the same world. Can I say again? If somebody is offline, they're emotionally unavailable, they're offline. How did you meet them? And how are you staying with them? It's because you're also offline, right? When I'm online, you're online. When I'm offline, I'm offline, right? So the two are marrying. So when you keep dating emotionally unavailable people, it's because something about you is emotionally unavailable. You are willing to tolerate that because you recognize a pattern and a mirror by looking at that person. And you know my theory already about mirrors. And the Bible says in Genesis 2, verse 22, talks about how when Adam saw Eve, he said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. We say that every time we want to date somebody. Rah, you're just my bone of my bone, my flesh of my flesh. Even if I'm not going to marry you, that's your thought process. And you look for two things. One, the things that are similar between you and them. And two, the things that are very different that you admire about them in them. Okay. And that draws you onto them. So that's what I said about the confidence. I said confidence would have been stripped from Katisha, because if you're working at 14, you know, you're looking after, you're probably going to be looking after your siblings. Okay. Who's going to see you for you? Your confidence is masked in your achievements and the things that you do rather than who you actually are. So Javan's confidence, whether it's real or fake, we don't know just yet, because we've gone deep with Javan, but we haven't gone all the way deep yet, right? All she knows is he's a charmer, he's funny, he's this, he's that, and it sounds so good, and he's so confident. Actually, it's probably what she admires about him that she wishes she had herself. Okay, really important on that aspect. Okay, so with Katisha, we've just broken her down, get a bit of understanding. So with her, and the reason why I believe she wants Javan, let's just talk about some of the likely outcomes. But before I do, again, let's play a little bit more of the clip to give
having an emotional connection and emotional intimacy is more important.
Okay.
I feel like if I feel like emotionally connected to you, then obviously I'm going to be physically connected to you too.
What does emotional intimacy mean to you, though?
The moment Javan asked what does emotional intimacy mean to you, I already knew that brother that's going to tell you some nonsense. He asked him, what does emotional intimacy mean to you? And I knew already that brother is about to show you that he's not emotional. She's about to potentially choose the same thing that she always goes for. Javan is her type. Demola. Chale, the name not easy, yo. Demola. Choosing him would be like choosing, I think, a reflection of her. And I don't think she wants that. I think she likes Demola, but it is because he carries the same sensitivity, softness that she has. But she's going to be looking for somebody who has strong boundaries, who can lead very well, whose confidence is high, somebody who is very strong. And I understand that, and I knew that I said, okay, again, we're going back to triangles and choosing, okay, choose between Damola and Javan, your Jamaican counterpart, your Nigerian friend. Your Nigerian friend is very soft and very soft-spoken. She said she loved that. But that's going to be a turnoff, because I believe, and this is my own perception. I want you to understand this. This next part is my own perception. From what I was listening to, what I saw with Damola and Katisha is that what she sees in him is that she loves the mirror effect of, like, she's a very sensitive, soft soul, and he carries that same energy. But remember, I said the mirror carries two things: one where you look like you're very similar, and the other is the things you're trying to admire. As much as I believe that she likes that softness, I also believe she quote unquote despises it. When I say despise, what that means is the parts where she's boundaryless, it seems like Damola is also the same. And the very thing that she doesn't like in herself, which is why she ended up with somebody cheating on her for how long they cheated on her for, right, is the lack of boundaries. And if Damola is presenting lack of boundaries, she's going to like him because he's soft, but hate him at the same time. So actually that choice won't be sensible. She'll choose it based on externalizing, and I believe this because I think she might be a fearful avoidant, externalizing, okay, her safety. Let me make it very clear. A lot of people emotionally externalize their safety and say it's dependent on the other person. No, your emotional safety is dependent on you. Now, of course, they can make it safer or they can make it a bit more riskier. But the reality is your emotional safety, which is the ability to communicate your feelings, your thoughts, your ideas without any shame, guilt, embarrassment, punishment. But those things are internal before external. So what you must understand is, for you to feel emotionally safe, you yourself must be a safe space for you. So when you're looking at yourself, okay, all right, when you're looking at yourself, are you able to be emotionally safe with you? Are you somebody who criticizes yourself too harshly? Are you unable to take creative risks without judging yourself? Are you struggling to ask for help because you're afraid of being exposed and being vulnerable? Are you someone that struggles with emotional, dealing with difficult emotions, sadness and grief, anger and disgust, fear? Do you struggle with those emotions? Do you struggle to actually work through those emotions? Are you somebody who, at the same time, struggles to accept themselves? for who they actually are. Like, these are aspects of emotional safety. And when you're not actually able to be safe within yourself, this is where the issue really starts from. So we can look at Javen and we can look at Damola, but they're not the problem. The problem is you yourself, who's choosing. So Katisha, I believe, may choose Javen, but we don't know yet. I'm only on episode 2, so we have to wait and see what happens next. She may choose Javen from where we are now, okay, because Javen is something that she has not worked out within herself. Let me say that again. Those of you, listen, look, this is what we do in coaching a lot, you know. I break this stuff down all the time in coaching. This is normal territory for us. The thing that she really likes about Javen is his confidence. It's something that she has not developed herself. When she develops it, she will develops it, she will outpace Javen. She won't need him anymore. Right? But we'll go to that in a second too. Let me just play a little bit more.
Sharing with your partner, or like working on getting this relationship how we both want it to be.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
What about you?
I think
now, obviously, she was very indignant that she wanted to be about emotional connection. I didn't really hear that from Javen just yet, and I think that's important. Okay, so like I said, she likes emotionally unavailable men, and Javen's very cool, competitive, he's charming, but is he really somebody that she wants long term? Maybe. They both value family and they express it differently. She wants a deep emotional intimacy. He's leaning towards more playful eros, physical attraction, but they both love their families in different ways. Okay. Now the main conflict for Javen and Katisha is whether emotional availability will actually be a key thing. Okay. Is Javen actually deep? Because what we heard in the first 2 episodes, I didn't hear no depth. You know what I'm saying to you? The first 2 episodes, I didn't really hear any depth from Javen just yet. So it may be later on, but right now what I heard was a quickness to go to sex. Now, again, I want to be open and say editing plays a role in this. I'm sure they might have done this on purpose. They might have missed some of the questions he asked. But from what I can see right now is that he was driving her towards sex. And even when she said, when I'm more emotional, intimate, I'm all about sex, he still was driving sex, even though he tabled it physical intimacy. Okay, which might be an indication that he leads with his body more than he does lead with his actual soul and who he is as a person. Okay, her cheating history may also play a part. Whether she's got trust issues, whether she's healed from the fact that she's been cheated on several times by a person, will his confidence, maybe he's a very open person. Do we know if he's a very charming person with other people? Do we know if he's a talkative person? If he is that going to trigger her? That may be a conflict arena as well. And I think also, again, their final aims seem to be different. Okay, is that she seems to want to go towards a more emotional space. He wants to go to a more physical space. This could be the clash. It's not that they're the bad people. It just could be a clash because what she's looking for is someone with a level of emotional depth. And what that looks like at the moment is Damola. It's looking like Damola. It is looking like him. So right now, why is she leaning away? No, I can't say she's leaning away from anything because we don't know. She hasn't made any things. But can she make that choice that she needs to make and choose the right kind of person? I don't know if right now in episode 2, I don't believe it's Javen. Okay. It's just the way they've presented him doesn't look like that. So his light, fluffy, fun perspective added with the sex aspect for me said unserious. Or I should say, better yet, he leads with his body, and you may not find the connection that you actually need long term. Now, where I think there's some growth areas, okay, all right, is that Katisha may need to ask more questions to get a deeper, profound response from him. She needs to keep pushing some of those deeper questions to see if he has the depth to go. If he cannot go to those depths with you, he might not be the right kind of person for you emotionally. Okay, all right, and then you must define the relationship goals early. Okay, so in order to miss some of the nonsense, I want Katisha to really be set up on what she needs. What you're talking about being emotionally intimate, but what is the emotional needs that you have? Okay, what are the emotional needs you have? This should be the filter system towards you dating. Let me say it one more time for you guys. If you're out there dating, you should know exactly what your wants and needs are, so you can filter people who don't actually match it. Filter them out. Okay, and as soon as they start triggering stuff, they're not for it. Emotional checkpoints are regular space to discuss insecurities too, because I don't know if I think she might have some insecurities that she may not be aware of. She won't be able to right now. From what I saw, I didn't see her talking to Javen about those things, but can she talk to those things about with Damola? Absolutely. It seems like it, because he was able to present a very soft and natured side, which would have allowed for a safer landing for her. But whether that will translate into her choosing him is another story. So really quickly on her and Damola, I want to quickly just break that down as well. He seems like a little saint, don't he? Yeah.
But she's always with me, and yeah, that's why. Like, yeah.
Yeah, she going that little thing. When she did that, I said, She said, "Oh, bless his cotton socks," and I said, Listen, I don't want to be harsh. I'm seeing things, and I need to slow it down, because how do I know? I'm making a prejudgment. Okay, let me be honest with you. I'm making a prejudgment. That was fake. I'm gonna say it. I don't know what happens in the next few episodes, and maybe I'm wrong, but that felt fake. I don't know how to explain it. When someone's been emotional, right, and a girl does, or a man does that, they're not really empathizing with you. What they're saying is, "Oh, that's very soft. That's very, that's very emotional," but they're not actually empathizing with you in that moment. Okay, it's to show. It's almost like what you do when you're watching. In fact, no, people give more emotion to TV shows than they do what happened just then. Okay, as much as she felt like it, it felt like it. I don't think like she was connected in that moment, but I could be wrong again.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't want to.
Don't apologize. No, please don't apologize. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Honestly.
Yeah, she's gonna eat him alive. I'm sorry, she's gonna eat his ass alive. Yeah, she's gonna eat his ass alive. Yeah, let it go. She's gonna eat his ass alive. Okay, all right. So let's quickly just break down Damola a little bit, a bit of his background. Yeah. Okay, so he said he's somebody who wants to intentionally date. He's from Romford, Nigeria, background. That's the east of London. Well, slightly outside there. He had his grand pass away a few years ago. She was like his best friend. Okay, lives with his older brother, mom, and dad. We're all loving home. And she was, that was it. She's like a best friend to him. That's what he shared. Okay. Now, here's my thing. They both have perspectives around their grandma's been important to them and everything as well, right? And they both feel like there's a deep emotional aspect to relationships. Okay, he is speaking her language, but I don't know if she's ready for the language wrapped up in Damola. Okay, all right, I don't think so. I think he can give her what she needs, but whether she's ready to receive that, I don't think so. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be a very interesting aspect too. Okay, so I do believe that with Katisha, it may be I think that she may end up choosing Javen, because what Damola will end up doing is he will end up exposing her emotionally and seeing her. And I believe she's a fearful avoidant based on what she had kind of shared in that space. If he's going to be very emotional in a sense of being emotionally intelligent, that will expose her, because a lot of times what ends up happening is being in a relationship with somebody who is more emotionally intelligent than you. I shouldn't say emotionally intelligent, but rather say someone who's able to see you can be very difficult at times. We want it, but when we actually get it, it becomes very difficult, because you're now on the chopping block. You're now exposed. You're now being seen, and that can be very hard as well. So I really empathize and understand that even though it sounds good, and that's what you want, sometimes we're not ready for that just yet. Okay, all right. So I think the second thing also is how do they deal with those particular how he deals with her trauma. I think he'll be more accommodating of her insecurities, and I think that's not what she wants. Again, I'm making my own judgments. I don't think that's what she wants. In the package of Damola will make it. I don't think so. And let me tell you why. Because sometimes people's ability to be able to understand you and give you room to move mad or to be insecure is only half the job. So, for instance, if you're dealing with FAs, just as me putting it out there, if you're somebody dealing with a fearful, avoidant attachment style, for instance, let's say she has a moment and she wiles out, right? All right. Demola might be like, you know what, I understand why you're like this. It makes sense. You know, don't be too hard on yourself, blah, 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 blah. And him doing that sounds like, wow, what a man. He really cares about her. But for her, it's going to be like, wait, hold on. I need somebody to contain my madness. I need someone who's going to tell me this is as far as you can go. Don't go past this line. This is what I mean about fearful avoidance, externalizing their safety. Sometimes what ends up happening is like, it's not about them having boundaries. They want you to have boundaries so that they don't go past the boundaries. They want to be told how far the line is because they don't have a good indication of where their line is. And because they're used to breaking boundaries, what they're looking for is somebody to actually give them boundaries so they don't go further than that. And they want you to police it. This is what I mean by externalizing your safety emotionally. And I don't know if I'm getting that from Demola at this point. Okay. So, you know, I think she may end up pushing his boundaries, testing him, pushing his patience. And it's going to be that versus his ability to be patient and stable. Which one will crack first? That's the real question. Okay. Now, what I will say is that areas of growth for them is if they continue on the path of having conversation on an emotional level and it's deep, you know, then I can see that this vulnerability will help them deepen their relationship. What I will need though from Demola is he does need to be a bit more on the front foot a little bit, right? So it may look like, you know, I'm not saying that he has to be going to be wild, no, but continue to lead yourself by being consistent, right? And showing up as you said you would and doing what you're supposed to, doing what you said you would, right? That's difficult, like I said, because your stability is being tested by her. It's being tested by her fears. So long as he can be consistent, he can show up, he can put boundaries in place, he'll be okay. Okay. All right. So he should let her know that he does have boundaries and that he's not just a soft, emotional person as well. Okay. So that's that part there. Okay. Let's move on to our other love triangle. There's another love triangle as well to break down. Okay. Sophie and if I'll come back to them actually. Let me deal with my guy Patrick and Thingy quickly because, like I said, I think we got to deal with them quickly, man. Patrick and Anu, we need to. This needs to be locked off. Okay, all right. From a Christian perspective, I think. Okay. Patrick and Anu. Okay, so here's my biggest issues with them. But let's play a little clip with him.
No one in this experience has given me a feeling apart from one girl. I know.
Yeah. She gave you that feeling. Like,
Yeah. It's just.
Okay, so Anu and Patrick. Okay, I like them if they were both Christian or both spiritual. I like them. Okay, I would like them. Now, here's my thing. It really depends on Anu. She said she's a Christian. She said she'd be praying. And we need to understand, what does that mean? Are you sold out for Christ? Okay. All right. Are you sold out for Christ? Anu, I need to know, are you sold out for Christ? Because if you are, this ain't gonna work. You're talking about the Holy Spirit, and he's talking about his spleen. They're not the same. They're not even the same region. They're not even in the same ballpark. Like, if you are sold out for Christ, dating somebody who's spiritual, it's not the same ballpark. Okay, all right. So let's make that a buck and keep that real. You feel me? He may understand Christian tenets and principles because he grew up in a Christian household, but is he one? If he's not, sis, I need you to look again. If he's not, I need you to look again. Okay, all right. And I know that can be difficult because you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to lose this man, but sis, let's not get desperate.
But like, my heart is willing, you know.
Thank you.
I think in terms of marriages,
Here we go. Hold on. I want to replay what she said.
I know you call it your splenic awareness.
Yeah.
I call that the Holy Spirit.
Wow.
But I know this is going to another realm here.
No,
But
that's powerful. I love that. You always.
It's nothing powerful, and I love that. It's nonsense. We're doing it all over again, just like we did with what's his name? The girl and the guy from last year, American version. I'm trying to remember their names, and they got into a whole situation. And she was talking about being in the army, and he wasn't in the army no more, and how he felt about the army. It's nonsense. Stop this. I want people to really pay attention to this, because this is the kind of stuff that I believe is self-betrayal. And when you start causing self-betrayal, your kingdom will always suffer. Your queendom will always suffer because you're self-betraying. Okay. First and foremost, they do not have the same faith. They don't. Okay. All right. So going by what they've said. And while he may love her growth orientation, may love her growth mindset, the fact she's always teaching him something, Marissa and Ramses, thank you. That's the one I was thinking of. This is not the same. You're not the same. You're not akin. You're not even linked up. You know what I'm saying to you? All right. It's not the one. Right. So when she asked a question about Patrick, are you willing to wait till marriage? The brother said, I'd happily wait for you. Now, I can believe that he's saying that, but can you trust that? If that's not, can I tell you something? Even as me, who would say, I used to say, I'd wait till marriage. And my behaviors were absolutely were nonsense. You know what I'm saying to you? Now I'm in a place where, bro, let me tell you this now. I'm waiting till marriage. Now I can't lie to you. I ain't about to do all that. It's important that I wait till marriage. Like I genuinely think about it now. Like, no, I definitely want to. You know what I mean? So my thing is, again, him telling you very honestly, and I appreciate it, but you should take that honesty and run with it and actually be okay with it. He's not necessarily on it, but he said he's willing to be on it for you. What happens when, you know what I mean? What happens? But again, for them, luckily, okay, all right, luckily, there isn't a long time period between the show and marriage. That's the lucky part. There isn't much of a distance. So I get it. You know what I mean? He's not waiting very long. That's what I'd say. So again, but they have a great chemistry, great vibes, great theme. Okay. Now, my main conflict triggers for them is how will her family interpret this man who doesn't believe in what they believe in, and she choosing this man? How would they interpret that? How would they feel about that? Would they feel some type of way? Would they be, you know, against him? Would they advise against that situation? What would be their perspective on him, on her choosing a man like this? Number two, again, what does it look like in their household then, knowing, okay, all right, knowing that actually in this situation, what is your idea of leadership in the household then? Because he's going to lead you spiritually in a different way, right? His spleen will be talking, but it's not in alignment. You know what I'm saying to you? So, like, it's not in alignment with your Holy Spirit. That's what I'm going to tell you. Now, can God turn around an amazing situation? Absolutely. I want to warn some people. One thing that God can do and has done consistently is allow you to go in your bull crap. I want to say it for you again, just in case you're not paying attention. I want you to understand something. Listen to me very carefully. There are many times in the Bible where we don't hear God's judgment, God's perspective or opinion on something that happens in the Bible. Right? There are situations in the Bible where someone does something and we do not hear what God said. For instance, we see Jacob, Leah, Rachel. We don't hear God's judgment on them and saying, hey, Jacob, stay with Leah or get rid of Leah. She ain't the one. We don't hear it. The same in Judges. We see a lot of things in Judges. We don't hear any of God's perspective on a situation. Why? Well, the reality of the situation is, like I said, God can allow you to go in your mess because at the end of the day, it's about getting you to where he wants you to be. Does that mean he wants you to be in this relationship? No. It means he's willing to use it for his good. That's Joseph, Bible, Genesis 50, I believe. So it's important to understand, just because you got married doesn't mean that's what God was agreeing. And a lot of times what ends up happening is people think that if God wanted to stop me, he would stop me. You're right. God would on certain occasions. And there's some occasions where he just allows you to go. And you learn that lesson, you come back. And you learn that lesson, you never want to go away from the nest again. That's important. Okay. So that's a very important aspect as well with their relationship. Okay.
Go back to Christianity, and that's so interesting. Like, you put it to your faith.
Obviously, I'm a Christian, but I'm not perfect. I've still got a long way to go.
Me too.
But
man said, listen, it's instant that you keep going back to your faith. Yeah, he's about to get pissed off. He's about to get really pissed off. Yes. What do you want me to clear up, Dammy? What do you want me to clear up? Let me know what you want to clear up. Just say, repeat what you want to clear up. But yeah, he's about to give. When he said, listen, it's interesting that you take it back to your faith. Yeah, of course it is, because she's a Christian. And I said, listen, it's about to get boring real quick. It's about to get boring real quick. This is why I said about compatibility issues. Of course, she's linking it back to her faith. That's what her Christianity is. So the fact that he mentioned it, even though it was like, oh, like, I'm glad you mentioned it back to your faith. Yeah. Gonna find out. Gonna find out. Gonna find out. Okay. Gonna find out. All right, cool. But yeah, for me personally, again, some growth aspects. I think we need to acknowledge what spiritual alignment actually looks like, what we're willing to actually apply ourselves to in terms of what our spiritual beliefs entail. What do we actually believe? That's the first thing. Number two, I think we need to also recognize what is our purpose, what is our joint purpose, what is God calling us to do. Number two. Number three, again, discussing what their family values will think about. Yeah. As well in that space. That's something you can work on. Then we asked about God allowing you to enter a situation that was not ordained by him. Absolutely. God will allow you to enter situations that you know what he doesn't want you to be in. Absolutely. He will allow you. There are some people will go into it and some people will not. If you notice about your life, there are some doors that are slammed shut in your face, and there are some doors that are open. And you ask yourself, why? That's why people get married and then they'll be like, I knew it wasn't the right thing, because God is allowing it. God is silent on it. You didn't ask God's opinion on it. And for him, he can still get you to where he wants you to be. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the steps of the righteous are ordered. Okay? And they're going to be ordered according to his will. So if there's a detour, the God knows how to use a detour to chastise you, correct you, bring you back into alignment. How many people have gone off the road and recognize that they're being whipped, beaten, and just been done dirty? They're like, Lord, I won't do it again. Sometimes you need to learn a lesson the hard way. You know what I'm saying to you? Sometimes you need to learn a lesson the hard way. All right, cool. Let's go to that again. Another couple really quickly. Carl and Sarova. I want to do them real quickly as well. In that aspect. Okay, Carl Sarova. Okay, really quickly. I'm not going to stay too long about this one because I think it's a decent one as well. So Carl and Sarova, I think, again, I won't spend too long on this one. I'll keep it nice and short. I keep saying Carl, and it's Carl. I do apologize. It's Carl like Superman. I apologize. Thank you for correcting me. Oh damn! I thought can't get his name right for doo-doo blood. Carl. There we go. Yeah, that's that. Okay. So Carl and Sarova. Now, I don't know if they're gonna make it, but what I will say is that they did have a good discussion about their.
But you fight against the tide.
Will you join me on this insanely crazy, beautiful roller coaster we call?
Now, they did have a really good conversation about their cultures and their background. I think it was a very good conversation, I'll be honest with you, because what they established was that she's willing to break the mold and has done in terms of the family, okay, and about the family in the family and how they're seeing, mixed relationships. And I think that was important because he needs to know that reassurance so that they don't waste their time. If you know your parents are not open and they're not going to receive him, don't waste your time, especially if you know that you yourself are not a rebel and you're not somebody who can go against the grain and who's willing to lose their family. If you know you're not willing to lose your family, if you know you're not willing to go against the grain, if you know you're not willing to give up those very things to find that love and go with this man, leave him right where he is. Okay, leave him right where he is. All right. So she said that she's giving up the ability to always make everybody else proud by being a people pleaser, and she's putting herself first. Okay. So she said now she's changing her ways. She no longer is thinking about just putting her family first and letting them be the reason why she's happy. So that's a fair point that's changed. Okay. But they're definitely showing us that there is alignment there in their relationship. What I will say is, again, they'll have to work through some of that interfaith, interculture perspective, because she might be carrying ideas and ideology that may be incompatible, and she may not realize that she also is a problem. So she needs to work. She might have to look through that as well. And also, how are they going? What culture are they going to bring up their child up in? Okay. Because we have to also think, okay, cool, you might be cool, but how do you deal with your children? How are they going to grow up? Are they going to grow up as being Indians? Are they going to grow up as being Pakistani? Are you guys going to mix and blend? Like, and what, what are those perspectives? Now, of course, this is normal. This is difficult in any normal situation, but you add the fact that you got a heightened family situations. That's a massive thing. They got to look through that. So that could be a thing they have to look at as well. And then what I'll say as potentially looking at growth aspect is just making sure that they are putting themselves first together. They're coming together and putting themselves first, and then they are moving along the lines when it comes to their relationship. So they're recognizing that they're always together first. They are on the same page before they move outwardly. So that making sure that everybody else outside is not going to break them up because they're not on the same page. So being honest, transparent, open, and just being dedicated to each other is going to cause everybody else to have to surrender to the both of them making the choice that they've made as well. So that's a very important part as well going forward. I'll quickly go into Billy and Ashley. I won't spit long on this one again, because I think there isn't much to talk about Billy and Ashley in terms of their relationship as well, I think. So let me just put this here. Okay. All right, Billy and Ashley. Okay. I'm gonna get the right clip. Boy. Okay, cool. There we go. Billy and Ashley, I've got a little clip for you guys. All right, cool. There we go. Oh, baby. Billy and Ashley. There we go. Oh, I thought I had a little thingy. All right. There we go. So Billy and Ashley. Sorry about that. I was looking for a clip.
Although I didn't say it, but I love you.
I love you too so much. Like, oh.
You see that hand? You see that hand movement? Y'all see that hand movement? That's what concern. That's my only concern. Other than that, nothing else. I was just like, what? I was like, maybe she wants to hold his hand. I don't know. But when she moved his hand, I said, oh wait, does she not feel comfortable? Maybe she's not comfortable. I don't know. Like, I was like, let me not say that, because she might be calm. She might be good. It was just a way. It's a way they focused on it and how she removed his hand. I was like, oh Lord, please don't let it be anything later on. Look at this.
Although I didn't say it, but I love you.
Nah, it might just be a normal hand. I'm being facetious. I'm saying to you, I'm not saying it's anything, but it's something just to pay attention to. Anyway, let's go to Billy and Ashley. Okay. Now, they actually came up with a solution around the area of how it would work, because he had fears that it wouldn't work because of her schedule and the fact she works on the airline. But she said she's willing to obviously be grounded to make this work. Here's my thing. The fact that she said that now, that she could be grounded, and that she's going to be grounded, she could be grounded to have a better chance of having a family. I said, I don't know how consenting she actually is. I don't know how much she's sold by that idea. That's not me saying that she wouldn't settle down. I think she's the type to settle down. But I'm like, I don't know how sold she is on that idea just because of the way she responded. But it could be, again, her just contemplating. She said she's falling. He said he loves her. She said, I love you back. It's looking deep. She gifted him a little present, a love thimble. And he mentions that he's emotional and he loves her. And that's when she said, I love her back too, right? I think obviously again with these couple, I think there is something that's going to happen to them. I'm not going to say anything bad. I think something's going to happen because I think the fact that he focused on the airline situation is intriguing. I think quality time is a massive thing, and I wonder if she's ready to fully be able to commit to no longer doing that but being on the ground. I don't know if she is. Is she ready for that? We don't know. She says she is. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. All right. I don't want to take too long again, like I said about them two. There wasn't much I want to add to them, if I'm honest with you. I'll keep it nice and short. What I will say is, obviously, we've got an introduction to Jed as well on this episode. So we've got Jed, and let me see if I can get a clip. Yes, Jeff and Bada was interesting as well. So let's have a look at Jeff and Bada. Jeff and Bada.
To enjoy the rest of your day.
A little shimmy. Let's go.
Oh, God. I've always wanted to get.
All right, cool. I think Jed and Bada. I don't know why I'm Jeff. I put Jeff. You're right. It's Jed. Yeah. I you know what? I like these two. You know, I like these two. They seem to be on the same physical level. They seem to be the same emotional level. They have the same background. She comes from an Albanian background, but she grew up in is it Kosovo? She said, and himself, he grew up, stayed in Lebanon for 3 years. He's half Lebanese, so he's a bit, like he said, he's a bit spicy. He's family orientated, okay, and he wants to bring his wife to the cookout basically, and he wants someone who can trust. And his dad is Muslim. Brought up Muslim, and I'm guessing his mom Christian, but he's a foodie and eats anything but knows the best place to get food. She said, okay, all right. She said she is someone who tries to eat halal, but you know, she's got a Muslim father, but I don't think she adheres to that Muslim family. She's like the auntie of her family as well, and she feels like he feels safe. Now, these two got the same kind of background, same kind of cultures in that respect. And actually, I think I see some good things with them, right? They have shared cultural roots, family orientation. They give a deep baseline of understanding. She feels safe with him. They both enjoy food, culture, family gatherings, strong lifestyle match, it seems like. Now, the things that may be an issue or a trigger is any, it is that... better die. That with their families, right? Their cultures, even though they might be similar, there may be differences that may put them apart. And that's about it. Because we didn't really see anything crazy on this episode. And it's a first introduction to them. Second time we'll see. Okay. Second time we'll see what she actually has issues with as well. Okay. But yeah, I want to see a bit more. I want to see a bit more because I didn't see anything in the first 2 episodes in that space as well going forward. But it seems like a really good kind of connection at the moment. Okay, good connection at the moment. Don't know where that fly came from, but hey. All right, let's talk about the love triangle because it's important too, and as well in that space as well. Okay. Yeah, it probably will be the little things because Albania, Kosovo, it's not the same as Lebanese. You know what I'm saying to you? So they definitely will have some of those issues as well. So I definitely hear you on that.
I just served them like normal. Yeah. And I went back for my shift like the next weekend, and he had come back and left me a card.
Oh, really?
The card was just like.
I mean, this story here by Megan was sad as heck. I can't lie to you. This story by Megan was sad as heck, bro. I felt for her. But listen, let's talk about the love triangle. Megan plus Kieran plus Sophie. Okay, I was proud of my boy Kieran because I felt like so far he's about to choose Megan and has chosen Megan. I was so proud of him. Reason being is because a lot of men, including myself, have done this before. You go for the hardest route. You go for someone like Sophie, who really isn't, really isn't anybody who is trying to be open with you. Like Sophie's not being open, and she's rude. Okay, she's rude. I'm so sorry. She's rude. She was rude in the very beginning with a black girl in the very first episode, and she kind of rude here. I don't like it. You know, as well. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So anyway, but okay. So back to what we're talking about. Okay. So yes, exactly. No climbing walls. You already know my principle when it comes to that. We don't climb walls in 2025. Now, what I would say with Megan, Kieran, and the Sophie soapbox is that with Megan, what we got was her being open about her insecurities, allowed him to be open about his own insecurities. It made him feel safe. She's been very open and very, very forthcoming about her issues and what she's experienced. She shares in this particular episode that she had not a great relationship with her dad, and that her dad pretty much has left her and abandoned her as well, which I can guarantee is about to come up in later episodes. Okay, all right, it's about to come up in the next episode. I can guarantee it. Okay, it's gonna come up. Not in the next episode, I shouldn't say next episode, in the next few episodes, because of the way that they've presented it, right? Those abandonment issues. If he does anything, it will come up. But she said her mom was great, doesn't have communication with her dad. Dad left her from young. At 17, she saw her dad, but dad left an empty card. Very painful. She never saw a loving relationship growing up, and her mom never treated her right. Now, never got treated right. Now, here's my thing. Her mom not getting treated right, whew, it's a bit of a mad one. Because really and truly, then what is her expectations of a healthy relationship? How does she expect to be treated? If she has a low esteem and low self-worth, can that be a turnoff for someone like Kieran in the end, who I think wants to choose someone who can level up to? It feels like that anyway. I'm just making my own projections. So in that case, with her, sometimes maybe quote unquote, I feel like it's going to happen later on, lower her esteem and lower her self-worth and confidence, lower her value in a sense. Could that be a turn off for Kieran later on? Okay, because she said it's affected her. And she said she has so much faith in a fairy tale ending. Okay, all right. A fairy tale ending. She's excited about finding a one. She feels like life is going to offer a big thing. Okay, and she's told a few people about Kieran. Now, I think this is interesting because having a fairy tale ending, nothing wrong with it, but there is work that needs to be put into having a fairy tale ending for most people. The work is go and heal, because if you don't, what you'll realize is you'll be chasing relationships that seem to have this fairy tale beginning, but actually have a nightmare ending. Okay, so that's something that may be a big issue for them as well. His biggest fear was divorce. His mom wasn't really affectionate. He admits to being a little bit needy. I don't know how comfortable Sophie would be with him being needy. He's absolutely right to not choose Sophie. Sophie would turn him left, right, up, and down. Okay? Left, right, up, and down. If he started being needy. I can guarantee it. Okay? And so... you know, the fear that of divorce he has, that because his mom wasn't affectionate, he wants to be needy. He has so much love for the mother of his kids. He feels that that he, you know, she felt like he put his cards on the table and he got a good vibe from her in the beginning. She doesn't feel, yeah, they don't feel like they would have met each other had they not been, if they had been in London, which is fair. You probably would have. So I think it's powerful, right? Because I think from this situation with Kieran and Megan is that their wounds will show up. His neediness, her need to be seen, probably to be considered, appreciated. That could lead to something, right, in the future. You know, that may cause issues long term. But there is a nice comfortability, energy that is going on in that particular relationship as well, you know, and so I love that as well. It's very powerful. The issues of triggers that might have in a relationship, okay, they're both going to need some constant reassurance because of their abandonment wounds. Okay, they may also avoid conflict to protect a perfect image. So they might both struggle to have arguments about real things because neither of them want to rock the boat or upset certain issues, but reality is they might need to rock the boat in order to get the best result for their relationship. Okay. And the final thing is that you know, no, I'll leave for those two. And I'll say, obviously, for growth things as well is how learning how to communicate through their stress and pain. You know, learning how to communicate through the stress and the pain. Learning how to be able to be regulated in that situation. How does their regulation kick in when they're stressed? How does it kick in when they're afraid? That's going to be a massive thing for them too as well. Being able to balance the fairy tale versus being grounded. So they're having good conversations, but making sure that we don't get into a place of fantasy and not learning how to have a conversation that is grounded in reality. Okay, that's a very important aspect as well. That's something that needs to be considered. And the last thing is, you know, avoid becoming each other's sole emotional outlet, because they're very anxious people. It seems we don't want them to be stuck on each other, and they're not going to have any outside people they can rely on. I don't think that's going to be the case for them, but it's just something to look, just to pay attention to, that they don't become codependent in that space of their anxiety as well. You know, that's a key thing. Yeah, we'll have to figure out what will happen if he does miss a date and she feels abandoned, or vice versa. She misses something that he may feel abandoned from. How does he respond? How does she respond? That's when you're going to really know what they're actually made of. Right now, it's fluffy, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's cool. But we'll see what happens there. Then let's talk about, obviously, Sophie and Kieran and their situation, because it is interesting, because I feel like this particular relationship, yeah, that ain't it.
I feel like I'm in it right now, if I'm honest. Yeah, I always say I've got success in my life, but not in my love life. Like, it's literally the only thing I'm not successful at, which is hard.
Yeah.
But
okay, yeah, this brother here, he was turned off a long time ago. There's nothing about Sophie for him that has shown him that she's able to be emotionally available to him specifically. Okay, Sophie, I don't even think Sophie even likes him. If I'm honest with you, I don't even think Sophie even likes him. This person is very different. He's a very emotional person. He's very soft. He's serene. So what is Sophie looking at him for? Apart from the fact that maybe she wants to be more softer, wants to be more vulnerable. But in reality, I was looking at her, I was like, you mentioned traveling, designer bags. You mentioned that you success is what you're doing right now. She said she's feeling safer to open up. Okay, she feels safer to open up. But really and truly, we haven't really seen any opening up. Okay. She says she feels she's letting her guard down, and she's always trying to make her dad proud of her, which I think is a massive thing. And of course, she aligns with her father figure, which is why she probably thinks the way she does. Her father being a bit more disconnected, a bit more distant. That's probably why she connects with her father as well, because maybe she also felt some of that aspect when it came to her parents also splitting. Her mum actually chose her partner over her. So actually, really and truly, she has actually suffered rejection. Okay, she has suffered rejection, and I think in that space, suffering rejection early from a mum who's meant to love you and care about you, whenever it comes to putting your heart on the line, she struggles. Now, she carries a very strong dismissive perspective where she has to keep her emotions in check. She has to keep her vulnerabilities in check. You know, she is someone who is looking to make sure that she's in control. That's where I feel like she's gonna have an issue, because I think she might want to end up controlling Kieran, and this will not work for them long term. Now, she says she didn't know how much her mum's behavior impacted her until she came to this process, which is natural. Again, it happens to a lot of people. They don't realize how much their wounds are affecting their decision making. I thought that was really good, right? And she said the most important person didn't want me, so how do I trust people? And that's a massive thing, it's a trust issue. And being dismissive, avoidant also means that you don't just you distrust other people and you trust yourself. You're always afraid of disappointment. What happens if he can't meet her standards? Or what happens when he disappoints her? Or what happens when he becomes quote unquote needy? Can she fulfill his emotional needs? Or can she set effective boundaries without disappearing and without backtracking or emotionally drifting? She said she's a cute girl being cold and the guard is a front. She feels it was a bold statement, and she doesn't want to feel like she's second best, and she feels frustrated that he played a game. And I said, oh. We got trouble as well, right?
I don't let people in, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I've written that down.
Then day one.
I feel like the door is creaking open. That's kind of that's what I'm looking for, Safe.
Yeah, so if it's a little late, can't lie to you. I know the door's creaking open, but it's creaking up real slow. It's creaking up real slow, Sophie. So right now, he's not able to really share with you what he needs to share. He's not able to open up what needs to be opened up right now because, in all honesty, right, the interaction that you guys are having in the space is political. Okay, all right. Now I want to just play a little bit of this clip because this was peak political performance.
She's back. I'm back. She's back. Do you feel like you're the only one that has Kieran as like number one at the moment? I think.
Now, of course, I understand how she felt. The fact that old boy freaking gave her a gift and then she went back into the girls' room and she was blazing it. Of course, Megan knows what she's doing. Megan knows what she's doing. You might think that Megan's not competitive. Megan's competitive. She's just smart with it. She just made sure she made as much noise about the gift. Because let's be honest, it was a small gift. It was nothing crazy and it was not a ring. But Megan said, I'm going to milk this situation. You're going to hear it and I'm going to damage my competitor. And damage she did. Because Sophie was rattled blood. Had Sophie making soliloquies on the side, rattled blood.
Oh, is that what he's talking about? He's talking about Kieran. Oh, well, I presume it's him because he's been to Japan and they're on about some Japanese thing. Oh,
Yeah, so cute.
It didn't even sound like she just. I won't lie to you. It didn't sound like she actually wanted Kieran per se. She's more just pissed because she's got rejected. I think her pride was hurt more than anything. You know what I mean? I feel like her pride was hurt more than anything in that respect. I mean, Megan obviously making noise like that. Yeah, political. Can't lie to you. Absolutely political.
Like, this is my person, I've just gifted them. He's naive if he thought that was never going to get back to me. Being someone's second best, that's not me. I ain't being like, oh, it's between me and another girl. Fuck that.
Yeah, and let's be honest, sis. I think the fact that you're even saying that, you know, it's between me and another guy, and you're saying F that, I don't think he's the right kind of person for you, babe. I think you need to go and find your person because this is not your person, okay? But again, because she is a dismissive avoidant, you know, I think for her, the abandonment wounds that she suffered, the rejection wounds, make it very difficult to lower her guard down to allow someone in. This scenario is going to further exasperate her idea of safety. She'll be like, see, this is why I don't let my feelings down. Okay, now he did try to push to get deeper, but let's be honest, she wasn't opening up in time. She was very slow with it. Okay, very, very slow with it. All right, so for me personally, this relationship was a doomer, and he's made the right choice in choosing Megan because you'll have more time to be able to open up with Megan. Here with Sophie, okay, yeah, it ain't gonna work. You know, you won't have that same amount of time. So for me, I think he made the right choice in choosing Megan. Megan did everything she needed to do to let Sophie know competition on. If you thought you were going to play with Megan, think again. She's not the one to play with. But we'll break down some more stuff a little bit later on as well. I do think we need to break down some more. We'll have a panel on the Saturday as well. So hope you guys are pay attention as well. Okay, I appreciate, guys. Stay locked and loaded. We'll see you again soon. Much love.